barrage of executive orders is expected from President Donald Trump.
We're getting out there how we really felt about DEI.
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm just a guy that had a mental breakdown about the state of the world and put it up on YouTube, and then no one watched it. So now I'm on a journey to make sure that never happens again. This is S.O.L.
Welcome back to the channel. Before we get into today's video, as you can tell, we're talking about the executive orders. I wanted to talk to you guys about something. I've started to really notice that we love getting ourselves caught up in just back and forth, pendulum swinging behaviors. And I'm tired of it. So here's how it went. Back in 2016, the right side's extremists were the loudest, and they controlled the narrative. In 2020, we swung the other way. And now, we swung back. And at what point do we open our eyes and realize that by allowing this, we just keep getting ourselves caught up in the same old situation? I'm trying to be different. I want to be loud about being in the middle, but I need your guys' help to do that. So please, I beg of you, comment, like, subscribe, so we can put an end to these assholes' reign, okay? The whole nation's not racist. The whole nation's not whatever. I can't keep track of them. I can't keep up of what the new trend is, okay? We are in the middle. We had the highest turnout of independent voters in history. I just need you guys to interact a little bit with me. I'll say the words. I'll be rude if I have to. But I need your support. So please, comment, like, subscribe, and let's make a real change for once. Enjoy the video. Okay, let's talk executive orders, because they were coming out swinging this week. While the left for the last 4 years have been sleeping in silk sheets, trying to keep track of how many people they call a racist or misogynist, old Donnie Trump and the gang were in the gym, getting that grip strength up, waiting for their day. And their day came, and they did not waste it. So let's talk about exactly what happened, because it was a lot. It was a lot to keep track of. So I put in the work, and I read through every single one of them, dissected them, really tried to digest what exactly it does, so I can at least give you guys some information to make your own decision about it. I'll say this. There were a lot of fluff ones. Changing mountains' names, changing water names, I guess. Cool. I understand that that means a lot to some people, but in the grand scheme of things in our everyday lives, which is what we rely on the government to at least help assist in, they're not making huge changes. There were initiatives to make sure we're the world leader in AI. Not the worst thing. And other initiatives that was just kind of like, okay, cool, whatever. And he made sure flags can't be flown at half staff anymore on inauguration day. He's not salty or anything. Oh, yeah, he revoked like 76 of Biden's executive orders, which then 4 years ago, Biden revoked 72 of his. So in the grand scheme of things, when you look at it, like, we're about where we were 8 years ago, which is pretty terrifying. It took us 8 years to agree on 6 issues. Yeah, I know. It's scary. But let's get into the executive orders that actually matter, and so we can try to get a better understanding of them. What do you say, America? Okay, so what's up first? Of course, Trump's favorite child, his wall. Securing our borders executive order is the policy equivalent of, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself nowadays. It starts with the proclamation, a nation is not a nation without its borders. To be exact, a nation without borders is not a nation at all, which really just feels like a Walmart brand t-shirt that's been sold out since January. But hey, he's being true to his word. Got to give the man that. Now, the centerpiece of the order, of course, is the wall. It's officially branded as enhanced physical barriers because apparently even walls need a rebrand in Trump's world. Now, this behemoth is supposed to be imposing, impenetrable, and aesthetically appropriate. Yeah, even the border walls got to have the right vibe to it, if you know what I mean. He's turning to his younger voters that helped him win this election. I respect that. But also, a lot of tech is involved in this executive order. It mandates high-tech toys like drones, AI, sensors to create what Trump calls a state-of-the-art border security system. Critics argue it's overkill, but Trump's approach seems to be if you can't stop him with a fence, try a surveillance network that we've been using to spy on Americans. Goes both ways, right? Now, funding is the fun part. The order directed that federal agencies have to reallocate spending to help pay for this. So basically saying, we're not putting much money into this. We're taking money we're wasting elsewhere, putting it into here, which is where Doge comes in. So imagine cutting your kid's college fund, saying, go to community college, daddy needs a boat. I don't hate it. But at its core, securing our borders is pure Trump. Bold, controversial, and a masterclass in putting forth what he says he's going to do. It's the symbol of his presidency, just as it was in 2016. He's just bringing tech into it this time, and we'll see how it goes. So up next, we have one that I thought was interesting because personally, I don't really remember hearing about it too much throughout the campaign, but it's something he wanted to make sure to include in his first 4 days, and it's sending a message, and that's restoring the death penalty executive order. It's a subtle sledgehammer, really, when you think about it. It starts with the ominous declaration, justice delayed is justice denied, which sure sounds good until you realize the delay is often due to things like making sure we're executing the right guy, the appeal process. Minor details, I guess, but also it does kind of seem like the appeals process is drawn out. Like, how many appeals do you get? On the flip side of that, I see the argument. I want as many appeals as I can get in case it does turn out I'm innocent. Now, the order reinstates the federal death penalty for the worst of the worst crimes: terrorism, mass shootings, treason. Yep, treason made the cut. Because nothing says patriotism like threatening the gallows for betraying Uncle Sam. The order also demanded streamlined procedures for death penalty cases, which critics argued was code for rushing things. Trump's response: why waste time when the evidence is clear? It's efficiency, sure, and I love the idea of efficiency in the government, but let's hope the justice system's definition of clear is better than how Wi-Fi works, because no one really understands that. Unsurprisingly, this order sparked international backlash, with allies seeking as a step backward. Trump's take: we're not here to impress Europe. America first, everyone else, go fuck yourself. Love it or hate it, this message was clear. Commit a horrific crime, and you'll face the ultimate punishment. And if you're not into high stakes, maybe reconsider the action you're about to take, or at least stay away from treason. That one's making a comeback hard. Watch out, Benedict Cumberbatch. So obviously, we got to talk about the national energy emergency. It was a backbone of his campaign and one of the core policies he believes will help bring down costs of everyday goods. His national emergency on energy order is really what happens when national policy meets nostalgia. The opening line: energy security is national security, which sure is true, but it's also about as groundbreaking as saying you need to drive your car with gasoline. Big deal. The order directed agencies to maximize production of domestic energy resources, including oil, gas, and you guessed it, coal. Drill, baby, drill. Because what's more American than digging up something the rest of the world is trying to phase out? We're different. You can't say we're not. Somewhere, a solar panel just shed a single environmental friendly tear. I really feel bad for all those salesmen. They should look into a new line of work. But don't call Trump anti renewable. The order mentioned modernizing infrastructure for wind and solar, though it's clear they weren't the star players. So he's not forgetting about it. He just wants to go back to what we're good at. As the text puts it, reliable resources must be the backbone for our energy independence. Translation, we're going to drill and we're going to do it to drive down the cost by increasing supply, which will then drive down the costs for your everyday goods. Critics warned, we know what they warned, obviously. But Trump said we need energy, not bureaucracy. Like it or not, this order was Trump's energy philosophy in a nutshell. Drill first, ask questions later, and if anyone complains, we can just blame China. We're really good at that. The next one I have to talk about is one of the biggest rollbacks of one of Biden's administrations, which is his healthcare executive order, titled Promoting Healthcare Choice and Competition Across the United States. At its core, I love this. In a capitalistic market, anytime you increase competition, you drive down prices. Now, how it gets implemented, I get scared, to be honest. But it's aimed to bring the free market to your doctor's office at its core. Think of it as the Uber of healthcare, except instead of rides, you're trying to get insulin on an app, I guess. The order promoted short-term insurance plans, often called skinny plans, which critics argue are cheaper because they cover almost nothing, need surgery, tough luck. But Trump's pitch, affordable options for everyone. That's what we need. It also encouraged the creation of association health plans, letting small businesses band together to negotiate better insurance rates. That's great. Critics worried these plans could sidestep some consumer protections, but Trump's team called it a win for entrepreneurs. Let them bargain, let them negotiate, let them bring down the prices. It's capitalism. That's what our nation is built on. The most notable provision required hospitals to disclose prices up front. So you get to walk in and just see a menu board that says MRI, $1,200, cough syrup, $200. Transparency is the goal. Critics argue it doesn't address the root of high costs, but at least you'll know how much they're gouging you, I guess, is the flip side of that. But love it or hate it, the order embodies Trump's philosophy. Deregulate, decentralize, and disrupt. Whether it works, I guess that's a diagnosis for another day. I'm so funny. Not really. I'm pretty bad at this. Up next, I would say, is probably the executive order that got the most attention, which is that targeting the DEI policies, especially within the federal workspaces, but also giving that little head nod over to the private sector that, hey, we're not doing this anymore. Basically, what he is trying to accomplish is to get to his meritocracy, where America is colorblind. We don't see race, we don't see sexual orientation, we don't see gender identity when it comes to hiring for a role. May the best person get the job. At its core, it sounds great. Couldn't agree more. I think it's a system that was implemented with good intentions and got out of hand. Now, of course, doing this generated outrage, with opponents arguing it stifled conversations about race and inequality. Supporters, on the other hand, hailed it a victory for free speech and merit to get a job. Trump's own words were, "We don't want our children learning how to hate each other based on race." Sounds like the administration was ready to cancel diversity training like it was a really bad reality TV show, but critics questioned if this was the right way to promote unity. I guess we'll see. There's a lot of differing opinions. You can look at Coleman Hughes as one of those. The order targeted not just federal agencies, but also contractors and grant recipients. If you didn't comply, potential loss of funding. Nothing says change your ways like pulling out your livelihood. The administration described it as a move towards fostering a culture of unity and respect. Though others suggested it was more about silencing uncomfortable truths. I guess it depends what side of the aisle you're on. The end result, well, say the debate over diversity in federal spaces didn't exactly end with a bow on top for those who were in favor. But at least we're talking about it. At least we're getting out there how we really felt about DEI, because it felt like for the last 4 years you could not speak against it or else you were automatically a terrible person. So I guess we'll see how it works out.